Hello, and welcome back to the Gaming Backlog Book Club. We are here to chat about the early moments of Final Fantasy VI, and as a reminder, we do go into spoilers, so if you want to avoid that, start at a previous episode, play along, and come back until you're caught up. So I think we even both mentioned it in our intro expectations episode, the kind of just the pre-credit or the intro credits roll, I suppose, before you really get control of anything. You know, after the three Magitech armor suits walk up to that cliff and see the city from afar, it kicks into those intro credits, right, where it's just the kind of music and the three characters are sort of trudging through the snow as they slowly approach the horizon, and the city starts kind of rolling up in the background. It's just such a really great cinematic use of the Mode 7 graphics that the SNES had, which I'm not sure how familiar you are with that, but allowed the devs to rotate and scale a background layer to simulate movement. Obviously, this is all kind of back in the 16-bit era. Obviously, this effect is used to really good effect in games like Super Mario Kart and F-Zero and Star Fox, where you're just like going directly into the background. And I especially loved it, how it was used in Super Castlevania 4, where in one level you use Simon's whip to grab or latch onto something above you, and then the whole room rotates around you.
Oh, that's cool.
Okay. So I played that also on the SNES Classic, and it's just such a cool and kind of surprisingly immersive bit of graphics work in this low bit era of gaming, which, you know, with us revisiting here Final Fantasy VI at this point, it's just, you notice the things that they were trying even way back then in the 90s to put that cinematic touch in some of these games, and it you know, it shows actually if you look back on it from now.
Yeah, it definitely does. Yeah, I mean, the intro on this is, I don't know. As I said, we haven't played it before, but I've seen like a little bits of the intro. It's just so iconic.
Yeah, it's
really
iconic. That's a good way to put it. I mean, it's so slow paced, but it's so epic at the same time. I mean, the scene right at the beginning is also the first appearance, to my knowledge, of Biggs and Wedge in the Final Fantasy series. I had seen them, of course, and I think you probably have too by now, in many of the future Final Fantasy releases, and I always associated them with their namesakes and inspirations from Star Wars, but it's cool to see where it all began. I knew they were Biggs and Wedge, but funny enough, since I'm playing on the Super Nintendo Classic, I found that Biggs is actually named Vix in the original release. So I looked it up, and it's because that original translation missed that little detail because of the translation, the way you translate from Japanese to English. So they named him Vix instead of Biggs, and then they recorrected it for every re-release after the original one. Just random fun facts that I found out. And yeah, I mean, I guess playing this here on my end on the Super Nintendo Classic, I just gotta say that, oh boy, the walk speed and battle speed is slow.
Oh, yeah.
But, which I'm hoping that you're probably taking advantage of the kind of quality of life thing of speeding things up here and there. But, you know, at least sitting 3 feet in front of my TV makes it worth it, I guess, on the floor or on an ottoman. Fun times.
Yeah, for the that's funny. Yeah, for the Pixel Remaster, because I'm playing on Switch 2, the Pixel Remaster version on Switch 2. And in the options menu, there's an option for changing it from walking to running, like you're just speed.
Oh, by default?
So I've just, by default. So I just switched it to run. So I don't have to press the button down, and it's just running all the time. You can also speed up the battle systems or make it so it like auto battles if you want, or like, I think I have mine though on the Classic where it's wait your turn, or not wait, but like wait until it plays out instead of like, I think there's an active where it would just keep going.
The active time battle, the ATV bar, which was also widely used in Final Fantasy VII and probably 8 and maybe 9.
I have it on the wait right now.
So
though.
basically it pauses so you have a chance to make a decision without getting attacked.
Yeah.
Okay, that's convenient.
There are still a couple times though where I take a little too long and I do get attacked. It's right now in the early game, it's not a huge deal, but it's more of like also it's also me. It's taking long of like me picking of picking if it's multiple enemies, picking the enemy like which I want to
Sure. Yeah, like
attack.
actually
So
targeting someone.
yeah, so it's like I've been using the joystick, but I'm now like I starting with the joystick, but now like for movement I'll use the joystick. But in battles, I'm kind of using the little D-pad on the Switch to switch in between because it's a little easier to pick who
Sure.
you want.
Rather
I
than a
will say though
joystick.
I will say they did make it a nice thing though that if you have an attack that can get everybody, you can just hit ZL like the back bumper,
Mm-hmm.
and it'll automatically just put arrows on everybody that you can hit attack. So
Solid.
that I like that they added that little like shortcut. I think that's nice for
Yeah, rather
battling. But
than like
yeah,
cycling all the way through. Um,
yeah.
yeah, I'm curious. I mean, I guess I'm curious. Like, at how far in will I have to decide that I am over the slow speed of walking would
I
it take for me to get for me to decide, okay, I'm switching to the Pixel remaster actually instead and see how much time was actually wasted. I don't know. Well, I'm gonna try to power through.
yeah, if you want, because so you walking. Isn't there a running button, or you can buy running shoes? Isn't that what it is?
You can
Is
buy
it
running
relics?
shoes at the store, which is a relic that takes up a relic slot. So if you're able to
Yeah,
sprint by default, then that's
I can
even
just sprint
more
by
sort of
default. Yeah,
battle
I changed it
readiness
within
on
like
your
the
end.
first half hour of playing. I looked through the
Yeah.
options and saw that, and I was like, "Oh, I'm changing that from walk to run for default speed."
The walking is slow. It's
Yeah,
and it is typical, and part of it might even just be the capabilities on the dev side back then, or just that, if you walk half the speed, then you can, what's it called, make the game take longer, which was a big deal back then too,
yeah.
because a kid
You
or a
don't get
parent for a
yeah.
kid spending some money on it, you gotta make it last until the next major birthday or gift
Hmm.
giving moment, or lunch money, or what's it, allowance money. Here we are.
Yeah.
Um,
Another, I will say on the, I don't know if you have this, but if you don't, you'll hate this. On the Pixel Remaster, I like this little feature. So if I click the right thumbstick in, it turns encounters on and off. So I can just turn them on and off randomly. But
so
like
you
when
don't
I'm in
have
the,
random battles.
so when I'm in the world map, sometimes I just want to see where I'm going. I'll shut encounters off so then I can run around the world map and see. And then if I
Okay,
want to like do some leveling up, I'll just click the thumbstick and turn encounters back on, and then encounters will happen.
interesting.
It's actually
So you
I've
don't even
found
really
it kind
need
of
to fight if you don't have to.
you
Okay,
don't
so
have
I
to
mean,
no, but like as I said, I'll use it sometimes to like scope out a place quickly,
yeah, yeah,
and then
to
I'll
like
go
find
back
where
to like
things are, and then
yeah,
yeah.
and then I'll go back to the start, or if I'm in the world map, go back to whatever, and then I'll just turn back encounters on and I'll fight. But it's
So
also nice in the times where if my party's like almost dead and I need to get back to somewhere to like rest or save or whatever,
yep,
then I can
yep.
just shut encounters off. I know it's a slight cheat and I get it. It's not playing like a
Well,
traditional way, but
which is fine. I mean,
it's a little
if
feature
you
they added and I'm going to take advantage of it. I like
if
it.
you consider a couple details here, right? So number one, quality of life is called quality of life for a reason, and it sounds like it's
Hmm.
extremely helpful.
Yeah.
I think if you consider that we obviously have a massive backlog to get through because this is called the Backlog Book Club, it helps you get through your backlog more quickly. So that's a perk. I would say so that basically, as background, the Super Nintendo Classic version of Final Fantasy III in this case which is the North America release of 6. There is no change to the game itself. The only quality of life upgrade is that built into the Super Nintendo Classic, there's a save state feature. So you have 4 save state slots when you hit the physical reset button on the console.
Okay.
It brings you back to the main menu and you can save wherever the hell you are instead of having to go to a save point. So that's useful and sounds like I think that's probably a thing on the Pixel remaster too, because it's
Yeah, on Pixel
like either
Remaster, so there are the little save spots that you'll see that were obviously just
yeah,
the original game.
yeah,
Then if you're out in the world map, you can hit save, like and just save it.
yeah,
Or
that's a feature in the main game. Yeah,
and or at any point there is a quick save feature that is always available. So whenever
so
I'm
yeah, yeah.
anywhere, I can just hit quick save and then it's just saved a quick save file, and that's where I restart from, which is
Got it.
nice.
That
So,
is the equivalent of what I'm doing then with the save states, which I
yeah.
really only keep like 2 save states at any given point. One is like when I log off for the play session,
Mhm.
I'll just save it there just in case I wasn't at a save point in that moment. And then the other is like, okay, if I'm about to fight someone that seems to be difficult, I, have a backup just in case.
Yeah.
And I don't want to run back from the save point to them. Uh,
Yeah.
the other quality of life perk here that I don't know if you have this in your Pixel Remaster is I'm playing with a Super Nintendo controller, which is awesome.
Oh, no, I'm playing on the Switch. I
Yeah,
I could though, right? Because
there
did they
is.
come out?
They
Yeah, they came
came
out
out
with
with one for Nintendo Switch Online games that you could. I don't know if you have one of those.
no, I
Will
don't,
it
but
will it work for Pixel Remaster and other non-Switch Online games? I have no
I
idea.
have no idea. Yeah.
Regardless, it's a good game nonetheless.
Yeah, I mean, if I was to play, mainly I've just been playing this handheld, but if I was to
Yeah,
put it on the TV, I have a Switch 2 Pro controller, so I'd probably
yeah.
just use
There
that.
you go.
But yeah,
Yeah, makes the most sense. It has a solid D-pad. That thing.
yeah.
Well, okay. I mean, I guess getting into the actual game itself, right? So that first mini boss against the lightning whelk, it was called the giant snail thing.
Mhm.
I know it's very clearly a tutorial mini boss, but it would have been nice if they let you figure out on your own to not attack the shell, maybe by attacking the shell and getting some damage from it, rather than just telling you immediately outright how to fight it. So
Oh,
yeah,
I see. Yeah,
you don't even take any risk in that moment, and it just says just don't attack the shell.
yeah. And then basically when he's in the shell, you just defend on your turn. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Just basically skip your turn and move along. I mean,
Mhm.
I suppose that's useful information for somebody, but it takes the risk out, right? A
Mhm.
minor gripe, and this is very early game, so there's some things to make up for it later. So right after you fight that, the Esper, who seem to be the summons in this game, yet to confirm that, but I thought it was hilarious that they basically just blink away Biggs and Wedge out of nowhere. And who knows what happened to it after you get knocked out, but I suppose we'll figure that out pretty soon because we're back in Narsh.
Mhm.
Um, and then you learn pretty quickly after regaining consciousness and trying to escape that Kefka is the one who put the mind control crown on you, and he works for the. I guess there's no voice acting here, so it's all the pronunciation is just whatever we make of it. Works for the Gestalian Emperor, who wants to take over the world with the resurgence of magic, kind of like that War of the Magi. What was it, 1,000 years before or 100 years before? Um, I'm glad we've been able to break out of the mind control for now, but I guess we'll see where that goes because you were a pawn of the empire. And
Basically.
then they immediately introduce Locke, who is another character that I knew the name. Like we both said we knew Terra and Kefka before playing this, but I also
Yeah.
knew the name of Locke beforehand, but pretty much nothing about him. And it's interesting playing this now and analyzing Final Fantasy VI through our current modern gamers lens, because obviously this is a foundational video game, but I have to compare it to things that we've experienced in our own gameplay. All that to
Mhm.
say, Locke to me gives off a kind of snarky Nathan Drake kind of vibe.
Yes,
I
I
don't
can
know if you
see
get
that.
that too. It made him,
I think I kinda get that in my head when I'm reading
yeah,
his lines.
just with a bandana over his hair. It made him instantly likable. And
Yeah, he is likable. Yeah.
back to the Star Wars reference, he's asked to smuggle Terra out of Narsh, just like Han Solo.
Mhm.
So it's like they're very clearly, taking as much as they can from there in this early part of the game. But, all references that are there for a reason. I was later a little surprised that a literal king was one of our party members, but they did say that Edgar was so young. So maybe that was him acting differently from a traditional king that would never risk themselves for their people. He sure flirts with Terra way too much, though, in a very 1990s type of way.
Yes, definitely.
And then, I mean, I guess just like a couple other. So Kefka basically just lights Figaro on fire.
Yes. Yeah, he totally does.
just okay. There you go. You're on fire. Um, and then the whole castle kind of does that weird shifting Transformers thing, which was interesting too. For some reason, whenever Kefka says he, I read it in Michael Jackson's voice, just because of the way it's written and the way that he looks. I guess there's just no getting around it. Uh, yeah, kind of. It's a product of its time. There's also, and I know you've recently played Final Fantasy X. I know you've
Mhm.
touched a number of other JRPGs over the years. Something about wandering around castles and towns like South Figaro in classic 2D pixel art JRPGs just seems really timeless to me. I mean,
Yep.
Earthbound, Pokemon Red for me. I know you've played many more than I have. Chrono Trigger, now Final Fantasy VI. Obviously the list is significantly longer than that, but those pop immediately into my head. Just like the hitting up the shops, talking to the townspeople who have like 1 to 2 lines of conversation in them at best, but are still upbeat and social, resting at the inn or a hotel to heal up, kind of like we did also in Undertale a few seasons ago. It's just, there's something so classic about an early game small town in a JRPG.
Yeah, there is. I mean, I've just been all the towns that we've gone into so far. Yeah, I literally go and like in Figaro Castle, like I go through like every door, talk to every person, just everything I can do. And then in this, obviously, you need to like check like barrels and crates and
Yeah,
other
I was
things
figuring it was
because
all chests, but there's more to it.
there's more to it. I don't know if it works for you, but for me on the Pixel Remaster, if something has something inside of it or it can do something, a little red exclamation mark pops up over
Uh,
it. So that's how I know. And then once I've got it, it just grays out the exclamation
mm-hmm,
mark.
mm-hmm. And just
So
clicking around is useful.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's so many random items kind of all over the place, and then yeah, talking to people is actually like entertaining. Not just
Mm-hmm.
there's so many games these days, and I think open world games are extra egregious with this, but they just throw in like this filler NPC dialogue that really doesn't need to exist at all because they don't have anything interesting to say. But this is so much better, even though it's like a snippet of a conversation.
Yeah, it is.
And I think, something that I noted too. So while it's a very simple concept, the front and back row idea in combat is just so great. Obviously, you take considerations that you do half damage, but you also take half damage. But then there's the weird wrinkle that if you get ambushed or attacked from behind, then surprise, your back line is now your front line. And the people you
Yeah.
were trying to protect back there are now in trouble. I learned that almost immediately when I switched someone to the back line. And it's just something that's so simple, but it provides that little bit of a little bit extra strategy and then also something, I don't know, something unique about it.
Yeah, it does. I don't think I've actually are you talking about the lands? Like I see obviously multiple enemies where it's like say 4 enemies and it's like 2 and 2 or 3 and 1
Mm-hmm.
or whatever. But for me, when I always have a party of 3, maybe 4. I don't know. How can you switch them on the back
So if you
line?
go into the like in the main menu where it shows your party members, whoever's in your party in that moment, if you if you basically instead of clicking on something, if you just move your cursor to the right and it highlights the actual character portrait,
Okay.
you can
I think I know what you're
I don't
talking
know if
about. Okay.
I don't remember if it automatically like pops an arrow up there and you can just slide them left and right, or if you have to hit like confirm and then do it. But you can basically just it has like the portrait shifts to like a box and there's a little arrow, so you can have it on the left side or the right side. So the left side is the front line and the right side is the back line. But then
Okay.
because usually your party's on the right, but then if you get like sneak attacked or whatever, then your back line
Huh.
becomes your front and vice versa. So yeah, just FYI, it's worth trying
Okay.
out.
Yeah, I'll check that out when I log back in on that. Yeah.
And then in those cases, like I don't know. I mean, I feel like we're early enough game that I don't get wiped or anything, so I don't do anything about it. But if you want to, one of the menu items, if you scroll, is row. I think it's called. So you can switch your row mid battle.
Oh, yes. Okay. All right. I know. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, I have seen that.
and right, so okay, so we get through the caves. um, leaving South Figaro, and you learn from the returners about what the big plan is to fight back against the Empire and go to the river. Once you get the river and fight Ultros the octopus, um, and then we're confronted with a choice. So we talked about this on the side, and I know you chose differently than I did. So I went with Tara's team because we started our adventure with her, which made her feel like the primary protagonist. So it just felt right
Okay.
to get her memory back faster. I guess that's my head canon on it, and not that it's not all that consequential, but the whole choice there is pretty straightforward. The river kind of just pops you right out by Narsh, and then since they didn't believe that I had Edgar the King with me, we just snuck back into the town the way we snuck in, or
Yeah.
snuck in the way we snuck out. Real simple. Going back through the caves, and then you pop out in that same house you left before.
Mm-hmm. I was just going to say before we get to that part, there was the part of Vargas. Remember we met Vargas in the
Oh yeah,
mountains?
there was that boss right before the.
He was like, he like his picture shows up, like you get it's like we're all little pixel people, and then like he shows up and he looks like he's like Super Saiyan from like Dragon Ball Z or
Yeah,
something, just
you
like
know
buffed out, and I was like, oh my god.
that's a good point. I have noticed that many times and thought to myself, why are we pixel art? Like I know we're in the world map as pixel art, but why are we pixel art in the battles?
In
And
the
then you
battle.
see, all these enemies like super detailed and well drawn.
Mm-hmm.
And then it even like it double hammered home the point to me because when you eventually fight, like half fight Kefka with Sabin later, I was like, okay, I wonder what like super sweet gesture drawing they did for Kefka. And no, he's just a pixel art dude.
Yeah.
So I mean, I wonder. I probably maybe it's worth looking if there's any interviews or any kind of details around why they hand drew all the enemies and then just kept using the same pixels for the main party. Interesting.
For the main. Yeah. But
But
yeah, but it
I
was
think
because like it was taking on Vargas, and I was like, that guy was actually. I think I might have died in one of the battles. But then you
mhm.
get saved by Sabin, who
Yes,
I think is Edgar's brother, right? I'm pretty
he's
sure. Yes.
Edgar's brother. Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and he joins the party, which was cool. I like Sabin.
Yeah. I liked his mechanic, which I'll get into the whole mechanic thing in a little bit,
Yeah.
but it tells you again they're like, oh, I got to use this move, and then you do it, and I really like his especially because you basically use like fighting game move combos
Mm-hmm.
to
Yeah, I
attack.
like it too. Yep.
So it's really kind of fun to do that, punch those into the D-pad, and then they like confirm it. But yeah, okay. So I know you did which scenario first? I think you did Terra second.
Yeah, I did Terra second. I did Lock first for my
Okay, so
scenarios.
Lock was my second. So we swapped them. What did you think of Lock's scenario?
I liked it. I mean, it was fun. It took me a second. I'm not gonna lie. I had to look it up to figure out how to get through one of the passages to get through. Like it took me a split second. Like, oh, you got to steal the uniforms, and yeah,
Yeah, I mean it like it kind of because up until that moment you don't know that you can steal something beyond an item.
yeah, exactly.
So it kind I mean basically like any of these party member characters, I usually try out their special mechanic in every battle just to see what happens. Especially actually in any JRPG, if I have a thief type character that has a steal option, that's always the first move I use on an enemy
Yes.
before trying anything out. So I like fortunately did that first and lucked into the answer.
As I said, I'd used it earlier with him in fights, and just got, as you said, stolen items. So I didn't think about it
Yeah.
here, and like I fought the merchant, and actually I might have done steal, but it stole like a potion, and then
Mm-hmm.
well, I don't know, but it didn't do anything else, and then I ended up killing him. And then I
Oh,
did it a couple times. And I was like, how do I get past this? So I just looked it up very quick, and I literally just saw the like, keep doing steal until you get uniform. And I was like, okay. And then I didn't look at anything for the rest of that, because then I kind of figured it out and
yeah.
just got through the rest. So
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, playing through Lock scenario, it started to dawn on me that even though Final Fantasy VI is often described as a pretty dark game within the series, at least, and a dark story overall, and we still have a long way to go, so I'm not negating that yet. And this is early game, but it does still have that lighthearted Final Fantasy / JRPG tone to it, with the pixel animated goofy things like Sabin earlier laughing at his own jokes, and the pixel animated facial expressions of him laughing is just so kind of over the top, because that's all they had to work with.
I like their eyes go big, and I like it.
Yeah. The acting shocked and things like specifically like this, like Locke stealing the clothes from the merchants and the guards to sneak around, and then they do that funny like covering themselves up pose with the surprise expression in the battle. Now I see where Agent 47 from Hitman got his ideas, just straight from Locke.
Straight from Locke, yeah.
Stealing outfits. But yeah, I mean, all those kind of little details that you see from these characters is really great, and hats off to the pixel artists there. Really good job. And then they keep piling on like these random moments of humor, right? So that there's the secret tunnel and breaking out Celis from jail was funny too, with the sleeping guard and the fact that he fake woke up, like basically sleepwalking. Like I thought we were about to go into a battle right there.
Yeah, so did I. I had to go back in. I didn't realize that he had a key to something.
Oh, the key to the clock thing?
Yeah, the key to the clock. So I was like looking for that, and then I just was just looking through rooms and clicking on stuff, and then I clicked on him, and I was like, oh, I got a key. Okay, there it is.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, it's at least in these. I think probably this game, like most Final Fantasies do it, will open up a fair bit later. But in so many of these older games, and especially older semi-linear games, I have that kind of not FOMO, but more like when I know that something is the next part of progressing things forward, I'll just go to every other room available. So I went past the room with a jail cell because I showed you where it was, and went into the room with a clock tower, opened up all the chests, and then the clock tower said, oh, it's not working. And so I figured, okay, I got to find something to get this thing. And then, later you realize it's actually a door.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you bust out Celis from jail. The boss fight was interesting, and it took me a bit to realize that her runic special ability had to be re-upped every turn, so that you can be that lightning rod to absorb enemy magic attacks. I thought when I clicked it, I thought it was a set it and forget it kind of thing. And you just set it once and it works the rest of the battle. And so while it occupied all of her turns to just use it every single turn, that was significantly better than burning any more Phoenix Downs. I used it once and then thought it was set it, forget it, kept fighting and having her attack, and then she got killed, and I had to use like 5 Phoenix Downs from Locke.
Oh, wow.
Because every single next attack was at her and would kill her because she was revived at 50% health or whatever it is. So
it's not even 50%.
That was fun.
Yeah.
That was fun. Now, holy crap. Sabin's scenario is so much longer than the other two.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember the second one. What's Terra's one? It was so short. It was
Terra's. It was literally just you basically
get off the raft.
Get off the raft. You're outside of town, like a short walk from the town, and then you just go through the cave that you escaped out of.
That's right. Yeah.
And then
you just go through the cave, right?
That was it. So
you have to do you go through the cave, and there's like a little pattern that you have to follow.
Yeah, the little light pattern thing.
The light pattern?
Is like the tiniest puzzle, and you end up having like the weird spinning thing that if you choose the right one, you don't do anything, and if you choose the wrong one, you can just keep. So I had one fight and then just was able to get it.
Same. Yeah, that wasn't too difficult.
So yeah, I mean, I think I by accident I ended up going from shortest to longest. It sounds like you kind of bounced around, but because Terra's super fast. Yeah. But yeah. Sabin's is just so long, like it kind of makes you wonder why. I guess to introduce him as a character or develop him a bit further, They just
Mm-hmm.
had more story to tell there. But it's just, I mean, why even split it into three scenarios? Why not just like set it up for us and have us go through in order? I guess some autonomy is good. But yeah, we here we get our first, okay, Kefka lit the whole castle on fire before, but I feel like this is where we get our first true taste of how awful of a person he is.
Yes. Yes, it is. He is awful.
Uh, Poisoning a river so that everyone in town and the castle nearby dies is not a thing good people do.
Mm-mm.
Cyan, the samurai's family, and the king, and everyone else around are all killed by this too, except for Cyan himself. So they immediately throw some weight into how bad Kefka is, and then I mentioned the battle earlier that where you see Kefka in his pixel art against your pixel art, and he's just basically another weakling that's too smart and too cruel for his own good, since he can't even take a hit from you without running.
Without running, I know. He
But
just runs
that's kind
away.
of another archetype of a character, smart and orders people around, but then doesn't want to fight himself.
Mm-hmm.
Typical people at the top of the chain. Then, once you get out of that imperial camp and make it to the haunted forest full of witches,
Yeah. Yeah.
it was a great section of this game so far. I liked the sort of weird, because I expected to be in, another dungeon basically, but it switched you into sort of a weird side scroller perspective with if you take the wrong route, it pops you out to the beginning of the thing and you got to go through it and like follow the right path. So very much like a
Mm-hmm.
haunted forest concept. And you end up at a train station, and at that point, when I saw the train, I realized I knew it was coming because this is one of the other iconic Final Fantasy VI things.
Yeah, this is when all of a sudden he's like, "Oh, it's the Phantom Train." I was like, "Oh yeah, I've heard of this.
Yeah,
I remember that this was a thing in the game." Yeah.
and like it was kind of fun. Like I don't know if you did this, but I thought it was really fun to have a ghost as part of your party.
Yep. I always had a ghost. Yeah.
For like, I mean, and he's literally just there for this one single area. All you got to do is talk to him, and he says he wants to come along. So that was sweet. And he had the possess ability, like a really cool little, like very minor side character. And I think Shadow and Cyan made for a good combo of companions for Sabin. I thought Shadow and his dog were pretty cool.
Yeah. Shadow's dog does a lot of
Oh yeah,
damage.
and he seems to just randomly attack, not attack
Yeah.
when you
Just
choose.
yeah.
But it's and I don't know if you picked up, there was a chocobo merchant in the town before there
Uh huh.
that sells throwing stars. So I picked up a
Oh
bunch of
yeah.
those,
Yep.
and like those are like that's a great. Shadow's a great character. Ninjas are just
I
cool in general.
I also picked up a relic that I put on Shadow and was it the black belt. Like I
Yeah, the black
basically can
belt.
attack. He attacks like twice
Yeah,
sometimes, which was awesome.
yeah,
So yeah, relics made a. I had done so. I know I said like I could turn encounters off, but I did not. I did
yeah.
where I kind of grinded and got my guys up a little bit, and I had a lot of gil, and I bought a bunch of potions. But then I've also bought weapons and upgraded quite a lot on my main
Right,
characters
right.
here. So I think is it Sabin? No, not Sabin. Edgar. One of them has a crossbow. I think it's Edgar
Yeah, the
has a
crossbow's
crossbow that I
great.
use.
Yeah, that hits
So yeah,
everyone.
I like. Yeah, I
Yeah, I
upgraded
mean,
a few of them with their weapons, their armor, helmets, everything.
and that's the
So
thing,
you
right?
know,
It's like, even with quality of life additions, I can understand, like, obviously grinding in older games was very much included to pad out the game
mm,
time, but also it's like a big part of a JRPG is like fighting random enemies out in the wild, and that's how you skill up and all that. And
yeah,
it seems worth it. Like, it's good if you want to kind of just power through the game to be able to turn them off or make them weaker or whatever else, but I'm glad you're playing this kind of the standard way, more or less.
no, I'm playing the
Just
standard
walking
way.
faster.
I feel like I might be weaker than what I should be where I'm at. I don't know. I think I
Mm.
want to say my character's mostly maybe level 13,
Mm.
maybe 14. I don't know what you're supposed to be at around here. I mean, I've gotten past it
Yeah, I mean,
where
I
we're
think
at, but
just being in the knowing about the random battles in the world map, I think I just kind of like go in circles for a little bit until I get a level
yeah,
or two up from wherever I was when I entered the area. Seems to be useful, I guess.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's a the turn-based combat is fun, and I think I guess I'll say is when I finally reached the Phantom Train boss, right? You go through the thing all the way to the left. I was so stoked because this is such an iconic boss from FF6 for some reason, and it's so random. I think probably what is most referenced whenever I hear about the game is how freaking awesome and hilarious and random it is that you can use Saban's Meteor Strike Blitz move to literally suplex an entire train car. So you just grab it, the entire train, jump up in the air, and smash it on his head. And then, indeed, since I knew this was a thing, it was the only attack I had him use on it.
You're okay. I did not, dude. I almost I beat this in on the first try, but two of my party members were dead. Like they were out at the
Oh,
end. And I think Shadow for me, I was just kept attacking with Shadow and doing throwing stars. Because I had bought earlier before it was finished, like I had bought like 50 throwing stars or maybe
solid.
like
Yeah.
30. So I was using because it does a good amount of damage. And then and I kept using some Phoenix Downs on people, but it only heals like
Yeah, it's not enough.
barely anything. But then also the train turns you into imps, and I didn't realize that. But like
Yep.
I had the potion, I forgot what it is, the one that can cure you from being an imp.
Here's the imp status effect.
Yeah, the imp
Yeah.
status effect. Yeah, it was tough battle. I got through it. I got really lucky, but I did get through it. But it was tough though.
It's just so weird and out there, but I think it was so well executed.
I wish I'd used that move that you did though, because I did not think about that with Saban.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I never would have thought about it, except that's like the one thing that comes to mind. If you, aside from Kafka existing, that's the one thing that I remember, or yeah, well,
Uh huh.
whenever someone says Final Fantasy 6, I'm like, oh yeah, you can suplex the train. Weird, random, awesome. But yeah, you get through that, and then on top of it, they had the audacity to just emotionally gut punch you, and right as you're escaping the ghost train to the afterlife, Cyan's wife and kid hop aboard.
Yeah, that was cruel, man. I mean, obviously in earlier you're him and you go into your room and you see like
Yeah.
his wife dead on the ground, and then he pulls back the covers and his kid falls out of the bed dead, and I was like, oh my god.
Yeah. So there's the dark to
Yeah, that's the dark to the game.
counter the other side that's
Yeah.
more lighthearted.
And then you see them getting on the train. Your son's just like, don't worry, Dad, I'll continue to practice
Yeah.
and learn.
It's
I was
like
like, oh my god.
not cool, man.
No.
Well, and then, you just gotta move on after that apparently.
Uh-huh.
And it didn't take Cyan all that long to move on, but anyway, so you move on. Shadow bails on you once you arrive at the waterfall, which seems just like the type of thing a ninja would do, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I helped you move along. All right, see you later. I have a suspicion he's going to be back though, because
I'm pretty sure.
um, and then once you jump into the waterfall, which again has that cool Mode 7 background effect again,
Yeah, that was cool.
both in the jumping over the edge with the rainbow and then when you're actually fighting, but you fight enemies while falling down a waterfall. Again, so random yet badass. I guess that's what you do when you're designing pixel art. And you end up on the Veldt, meet the feral boy named Gao, and then wander the plains there, either fighting or end up in Mobiles. I don't know what
Yeah,
pronunciation you want to go with there.
Mobliz? I don't know. I know what you
Mobles.
yeah.
Mobles. I
Mobles?
don't know. I
Mobliz?
think
Yeah.
I think my brain says it should be mobiles, like
Mobiles.
the thing you put over a baby's crib, but
Yeah. Okay.
mobiles, whatever. It really doesn't matter. It's the little town. It's got some kids. Got a random guy running around like a chicken with his head cut off, and then
Mm-hmm.
the injured soldier in the bed in one of those buildings. Who did you go through his kind of series of things?
Yeah, I went took his note and I mailed it or whatever.
You take the note and then mail it, and then you take a what was it? Did you go back and forth with the two guys?
I went back to him after I mailed it, but he didn't really say much.
Okay, so he said something,
okay.
and then I just kept I went to some other place in the town, and then I wandered back in there, and he had another letter on his desk. So basically that the his girlfriend, wife, I don't know, his significant other in the other town said just kept asking or mentioning things, and so you bring like a book, another letter, a record, and then something else. Oh, and like a potion because someone is sick. And so you do like one at a time. You bring it back to the carrier pigeon USPS or UPS, and hey, maybe they sent Norman Reedus. But anyway, and then eventually he gives you this relic as a reward for doing all that stuff. He still can't walk or get out of the bed, so sucks for him. But since you were helping him out, he gives you this item that I don't remember exactly what it was, but it seemed pretty useful, which I immediately equipped on someone. It had a weird name though, so that's all I can really tell you out of it.
Interesting.
You also hear from multiple people in this town, and this is something I quite love about these more old school games, is you can get all the info you could possibly need about directions, the names of the places you need to go to, the items that you need, etc., just by talking to the NPCs. Like they actually had something useful to say. They only had 1 to 2 lines of things to say, but they had something useful to say back then. There's no need for a guide, a walkthrough, a wiki. As long as you just pay attention to the interactions you have, you can get the info you need at least to progress. So, hey, another perk for old school games. And so a couple people in town talk about the kid roaming the veldt with the monsters, which is obviously Gao, the guy that you met when you first wash up on shore. And one guy mentions that he threw some dried meat to get a monster to go away when it attacked him out there, and the feral kid went after it. And what do you know? The regular item merchant has dried meat for sale. Did you go through this process?
Yeah, I did. It took me a little bit to figure that out. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I'd like done everybody in the town, and I kept seeing Gao, and I kept like attacking him and run off. And then I realized he was like saying, "Oh, I'm hungry, I'm hungry," and I was like, "Oh, that's right, that
I
dude."
shouldn't be
And I had
attacking.
bought I bought like 3 pieces of dried meat, like just randomly for my team, and then I was like, "Oh, I have that in my items." I was like, "I wonder," and so I gave him the dried meat.
Yeah. So it's okay. Yeah, it's very much like they're giving you hints. They're not telling you go do this. So this is where I'm glad they're giving you hints instead of like that tutorial boss where they say don't attack the shell.
Mm-hmm.
And you give up when you decide to do this. You give him the meat, and then you have that funny interaction between Gao and Cyan and Sabin before he joins the party, where Gao's calling him thou or like Mr. Thou, and Sabin just hates it. And then you get this interruption that reaches out to you. Basically, it teaches you Gao's mechanics. And it's another one of those odd fourth wall breaking moments, like during the party scenario selections, where the Mog it's a Moogle is the name of the creature. I want to say Mog is the name of like a specific one. Goes and says, "Oh, like which party do you want to join?" So there's another one of those, but it's some other creature I don't recognize.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, since the way they described it was like this kind of odd species of a blue mage that I was super used to from FF8, 9, and 10, I was really down for having Gao in my party because I love that class in JRPGs when they have them. And so afterwards, I was just wandering the veldt for a super long time, collecting enemy attacks or rages, I think they call them, for him.
Yeah.
And I tried out a handful as well. Who knew a stray cat could pack such a powerful punch? I don't know if you got that one.
I don't know. Okay, so this is I'm wondering if this is something different with the Pixel Remaster version. Because when I click on Rage or whatever, when I select one, I had done like 1 or 2 leaps.
Okay.
But I had about 9 or more different attacks.
Okay.
So I don't know if that was already there, like, and I could just pick them. So like Stray Cat was one of them.
You had done 9. So I think from what I gather, the way the leaps work, I mean, for starters, okay, I looked at the second I read that kind of fourth wall tutorial moment, I went into his skills section, looked at the rages, and I think I had like somewhere between 4 and 6 already there. And then when you do the leaps, right, he goes away, and then you don't even finish the fight, and then the next time he pops up, he comes back. And I think you get it described it as you get the specials from both of those groups of enemies. So you probably picked up like another 3 during that process before you
Okay.
looked at it. And then I
Okay, so maybe
think what
that's
I
okay.
understand too is that when you select a rage from his menu in a fight, you choose whichever one you want, which doesn't give you quite enough detail. You kind of just got to experiment, I guess.
Yeah.
And you choose whatever enemy it was, and then it either just does a regular attack or it does the attack of that rage.
Yeah,
That's what I've figured out
and
so
then you
far.
can't control him after
And
that.
then
He just keeps
and then
going.
it's just on autopilot,
Yeah. Like
which
I
is
okay, so
fine.
I remember I got like Were Rabbit. Is it Were Rabbit?
Where
No,
those are one of the
Were
first
Rat,
enemies. Yeah.
not Rabbit. Were Rat. Doberman was one. Stray Cat I had as well. And then what is the whatever the bunny's called. The Leaf Bunny, Leaf Rabbit, something
Yeah,
like that.
something
Yeah.
like that, yeah. Well, the
And then
stray
I had those along with then like a few like maybe 5 to 6 others that were already
mhm.
there.
Yeah, I mean, so someone on Discord mentioned the stray cat
Mhm.
attack being like one of the best single enemy attacks this early in the game. So I thank you for that little nugget because you wouldn't
Mhm.
expect it otherwise. I mean, I basically, when I was wandering the belt, I just leaped everything every time that I had Gal in my party because why not?
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I didn't really get much of a chance to use him in fights outside of the Velt, so guess we'll see how useful he is outside there.
Same thing I
Kind
didn't
of a
use, yeah.
random character, but yeah, I mean, you go through the Velt, you go through the cave, you pick up a old school diving helmet because for
Mhm.
some reason that means you're allowed to swim. I guess old school logic, and then you end up in the ocean current, and it uses the Mode 7 graphics again, kind of like on the river, and then you land on a dock, and then you can shop around. Did you go into the bar
Yes.
where
I was Yes, yes, I did. Yeah, I know what you're talking about, yes.
yeah, so this guy's wife and kid were just poisoned in a castle. I mean, okay, I guess we can't assume that we know how much time has passed in game. But
Mhm.
for us personally, in real life, it's maximum been like an hour, hour and a half. So his wife and kid just died by poisoning along with everyone else he knows in the castle. And then he goes and sees them get on the afterlife train. And then I guess he just says, all right, I can forget them now. Because he gets all flustered by the working girl coming onto him in the bar. While Sabin says that his monk training lets him just be chill.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, okay. I see where your standards are, Cyan. And well, anyway, so you basically, I kind of just shopped around and see what they had. There wasn't tons of stuff, but it's useful enough. Really, just kind of re-upped on regular items, and uh,
Same.
and then you hop on the boat and they ferry you over to their side. And when you finally arrive at Narsh with all 3 of your separated parties to reunite them, it doesn't let you save immediately. So we set the stage here for our next segment, and I have to say, it's looking pretty epic.
Yeah, it is. It looks like the whole, oh, what was I gonna say? The whole force, not force, but no, I'm
Yeah,
blanking on
like
the term, but yeah, they're on
Kafka and his giant
Kefka and all of
army.
his troops, all the whole armies coming to Narsh,
There's
so
there's
even though they were
definitely
like, we're neutral," it's like, "Well,
yeah, really. Like
not
Kafka
anymore."
couldn't care less about anything.
Yeah, exactly.
There's definitely about to be a huge battle, but luckily for us, we just formed our giant party. This, to be honest, it kind of feels like one of the big climactic moments from major fantasy movies and books, especially.
Mhm.
Like something straight out of Lord of the Rings or Game of Thrones. And yet we are still so early in the game. So I could be wrong. This could just be gathering our group of misfits fellowship of the rings moment before things get even crazier. Here's to hoping.
Could be. I think, yeah. I don't know. I think we're gonna have a good battle.
I think we're gonna have a good battle with Kefka's army, and Kefka's obviously gonna escape or never
Oh, yeah,
even be in it to
Kefka's
begin with.
yeah.
But he'll throw some other boss at us.
Oh, I'm sure. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. And there's from what I can tell, there's nowhere for us to grind out levels, so just got to go in with whatever you have.
No, hopefully, as I said, luckily I've upgraded some of my weapons on my people and other stuff.
Yeah,
So
yeah. The weapon and armor micromanagement is a fun part of these games too. It's not like they give you like 50 options. It's really just like the next option is a stronger sword. But
no,
it's good to always check out shops.
I also like when like I'm in the shop and I'm looking to buy a sword. I don't know if it does this on the regular, but on the Pixel version, it shows your whole party underneath, and it'll give like if it's an upgrade, a little green arrow
Mm.
above their head, or if it's the same, it just doesn't do anything, or if it's like a downgrade, it's a shows. But then
And
it
it shows
only
if it's
shows,
equipped too.
yeah, it only shows on the people who can also use those weapons or armor or
Yeah,
whatever too, which is really useful to be honest.
right.
Makes it easier to figure out. Okay, they're using this.
Yeah, it's better to not have to bounce between menus all over the place just to see if the
Mm-hmm.
person has it. And then when your party's not with you, you can't actually look at any of their stuff either.
Yeah.
So it's convenient.
Yeah.
d- I guess, do you have any favorite party members at this point? Whether that's personality wise, viability in battle, or any other reason?
Oh, I will say I think I do like Edgar. I've got him up quite a bit, and he's with the crossbow, he does a good amount of damage. Um, I like Locke as well, just with his personality. I still feel like though for me he's a little weak. I need to sort him up. And then
Yeah,
Sabin, I like Sabin, Edgar and Sabin. I think Sabin's just funny. He reminds me. I feel like he's like a character out of Street Fighter or something. I don't know. Just
yeah,
the ego.
that's a good point. He's got the ego. He's got the weird kind of flat top haircut. It looks like.
It's it's oh god. What is the character? Why am I blanking? Ooh. Oh, who's the
Let,
character?
let
Yeah,
me
I
let
know.
me
It's
help
the
you out
flat
here.
top.
Oh, the character from Street Fighter.
Yeah.
Is that the guy
Lieutenant
named Guile? Maybe or
Guile. Is it
yeah,
Sergeant Guile? Yeah, Guile. Lieutenant
I don't
Guile,
know.
whatever. It's one of them. Yes, Guile. He kind of reminds me of Guile.
Yeah,
Maybe that's what they did, but yeah, it's who he reminds me. But yeah, I like them. I like both those two. A
yeah.
little partial to Cyan right now as well because of I just finished like a
Oh,
fantasy book about samurais in
sweet.
Japan, so that was kind of like cool. But yeah,
I like his Bushido moves.
mm-hmm.
You don't have to do anything crazy. You just kind of select it, but they're entertaining. I use the one where he jumps around and attacks 4 times
Yeah,
pretty frequently. Yeah, I'd probably say similar. It's just the diversity of roles in the party. It's not quite exactly like an assignable jobs type system, I would say, obviously, because I think that's one of the big things in, what was it, 4 or 5? And it really kind of honestly fits some of the archetypes of most JRPGs, but I guess it's just been long enough since I've played any Final Fantasy game that I just forgot about it. So I
mm-hmm.
like Locke being the thief who can steal items. Edgar's crossbow is sweet. I'm curious to see what other tools he picks up along the way. And yeah, again, like I love Sabin's mechanic of the fighting game inputs, combos
Yeah.
to
It
do his
is
different
fun.
attacks. I think that's great. I'm curious to see like so Celis's kind of runic absorb magic damage thing just seems kind of niche. Like, is it gonna get used that much? Possibly. Um, Gauss thing is interesting. Yeah, it's just like I like how they give every character in battle their own little flavor,
Yeah,
and then they write their personality in a specific way. But
I like Bannon because he can do pray and just
oh,
heal
Prey's just auto heal.
everybody.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
just
it's
the
so
white mage.
useful.
The white mage, but I think Prey doesn't even take any MP,
Nope,
so
it's
that's
just you. Yeah,
like it's almost seems like a permanent party member in the late game,
I know.
unless he,
If able to, yeah,
yeah, right. But no, solid setup here, and I think Saban's like spur of the moment kind of fighting game inputs things kind of seems like the types of things that Claire Obscure recently just killed it with, like just live, like hitting an action when you're getting attacked or about to attack.
mm-hmm.
which I thought took a lot of inspiration from Final Fantasy VIII, because I don't know if have you played eight at all?
I've not played 8. It's yeah.
Yeah, eight. So Squall, the main character of eight, has his primary weapon type.
It's like a
You know,
revolver
it's a
sword
it's a
thing, I would say,
yeah,
yeah.
it's a, I don't know if the official word was gun blade, but yes, it's a gigantic revolver, or like magnum revolver, but that has a basically a bayonet, or like the whole barrel has an extended giant sword knife
Yeah.
thing sticking out of it. So I mean, as a kid when I was playing this, I loved that you could, specifically just with him, when
Mhm.
you attack, if you time hitting R1 at the right moment, you pull the trigger and shoot when you're like in the middle of the enemy. So you're slicing and shooting at the same time.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
So like that kind of thing, I think just is awesome. It seems like something that's similar to what Claire Obscure is doing, and then it reminds me of Saban's thing a little bit here too. But I from what I can tell, there are more party members to pick up too. So I'm really curious to see what they can do, what they're about.
Yeah, definitely. Same here.
Well, any other first impressions?
No, I'm
Ready
enjoying
to
it
keep
a lot
going?
so far. Yeah, I'm ready to keep going. It is quite nostalgic. It's yeah, I've just found myself having fun with it.
The music is pretty solid,
Mhm.
um, for the time, obviously. I know you mentioned that the first little bit you were, what's it called? Multitasking and listening to something else at the same time. Did you pick up any of the or listen to any of the music further in?
Yeah, I have the last however many few times I've been playing through the whole scenarios. I was
Yeah.
listening to all the music.
The music on the Veldt was kind of a silly, like,
Music for the
I don't
Phantom
know.
Train was cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good one.
They're doing a good job. Cool. Well, for next time, our goal is to play until you complete the Magitech Research Facility or Factory. So once you finish that, and as much roaming or side questing as you're in the mood for, save and quit and hang on for next time. Just don't move past that factory, or whatever it's called, Magitech Research something. That's where we'll stop and wait for the next one.
Yep. Sounds good. Thank you everybody for listening. Thank you for following along with us here for Final Fantasy VI. If you want to follow along and discuss our playthrough of Brave Games on the Gaming Backlog Book Club podcast, please give us a follow on your podcast platform of choice: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Amazon Music, or Pocket Casts, as well as our Discord and Instagram under the same name.